Hey there, welcome back to the show. My name is John Middick of SharpenedArtist.com. This is the Sharpened Artist Color Pencil Podcast. I'm excited to welcome my guest today. I'm going to be talking to Michael Ginsburg. So Michael are you you're the founder of Legion Paper? You're the CEO? What are you?
Co-founder.
Co-founder. Okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. So I understand it's relatively new company. 1994 is when
that's relatively new. God, I mean, we're doing it 27 years, John.
Okay. It's a paper company. Okay. What about the history before?
The truth of the matter is, John, I mean, the truth of the matter is, Len and I started the company in 94 without a doubt, but my experience and my background with art papers goes all the way back to 1970.
Okay.
I mean, when it was, Crestwood Paper Company, then it became A&W Crestwood Paper Company, and then Len and I joined forces, and we created Legion, L-E, Levine, G-I-N, Ginsburg, and we threw an O in to make it legal.
Didn't know this. Okay, that's where that comes from. Interesting. Okay, and so what was the primary goal then whenever you guys started out with the company?
The primary goal was to listen to the market, really listen to the market, and bring in product that the market really was desiring. I mean, there was so many voids and holes in the marketplace, especially on the domestic side, not only the international side. I mean, we had mills like Arjo Marie, we had mills like Fabriano, and but in the United States, no one really exploited all the capabilities of some of the domestic manufacturers to make quality 100% cotton fiber paper.
Okay.
But I did. I mean, I found, that's how Stonehenge was created in 1971.
That's one of the favorites of color pencil artists, as you may know. Has that paper, the production of that paper, changed any through those years?
It's really interesting because when I created that paper, I really didn't create that paper for colored pencil.
Right. What did you create it for?
That paper was created for printmaking.
Right.
That was a printmaking grade because when I started the company, or when I was, it wasn't Legion at that time. It was A&W, it was Crestwood Paper Company. I did not have access to the Arch mill, which meant that I didn't have Arch cover. I didn't have Reeves BFK. I didn't have any of those really exotic deluxe mold-made papers. So I said, you know what? This is crazy. Let me find a mill domestically in the United States that had the ability to replicate as best as they possibly could on a machine, on a Fourdrinier machine, that would, look like a mold-made paper and perform like a mold-made paper.
Okay.
So found the mill. And as I mentioned to you earlier, John, it was not just flip a switch and boom. I mean, this was trials and trials and trials. I mean, I can't tell you how many machines worldwide I slept next to, but it's not an easy process. And it's literally, if a mill has the capability or the machinery to produce what I want, it's an education. I mean, I have to really handhold a little bit, educate them a little bit, tell them what my characteristics are, tell them what I'm trying to achieve, and most importantly, tell them the market that I'm trying to go after.
Yeah.
In the case of Stonehenge, and to your point, it has changed a little bit over the years, because originally, when it was for a printmaking paper in 1977 and 71, 72, I didn't want to have a lot of surface sizing on it. Because for printmaking, when you wet the paper, you want and the paper is damp when you're printing in, say, intaglio, that surface has to be receptive to ink from a printing press. For colored pencil, which obviously Stonehenge has moved along, and then I added a little bit more surface sizing to it, made it a little bit more suitable, a little bit better holdout for wax-based pencil, for water-based pencils. And it's amazing how, the colored pencil market and the society in general, has embraced this grade over the last, my God. It's got to be easily 20, 25, as long as Legion has been in
20
business.
years. Yeah. Sure. Okay. So a little more sizing has been added to the top surface of the paper.
Right.
What about differences between the large single sheets and the pads themselves? Are there a lot of changes with that, or are they different? That seems to be something that comes up often.
Well, that's an interesting question. Because the volume was so great, on Stonehenge as a product.
Yeah.
We had to have more than one manufacturer make this for us here in the States. As a result of that, on some of my colors, like craft, like black, like gray, maybe cream.
Okay. Yeah.
You may have a little bit of a two-sidedness to it, a little bit more texture on one side and smooth on the good side.
Right.
But the recipe has always been the same.
Okay.
From the very, very beginning of time, way back to 1970, I haven't really, except for adding a little bit more surface sizing, John, I have really not changed this paper at all.
Okay.
Added some colors. We added craft.
Yeah.
Craft, which has become, popular with a whole bunch of different people. I did I think I did a webinar with Wendy Hollander. Can I mention a name?
Yeah, of course.
I did a webinar with Wendy Hollander, who's a botanical artist.
Okay.
And she takes that craft, and some of the things she puts down on it are just unbelievable.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, we'll look her up and put her in the show notes. It's a very dark paper.
Well, it's interesting how it came about. Somebody challenged me, John. Somebody said to me, Michael, I bet you can't do this. I said, well, what can I do? I said, I want you to match a supermarket shopping bag.
That's what it looks like.
We want a really funky industrial looking product.
Yeah.
But we want it to be 100% cotton. So what did I do? I went to a supermarket, and when you're talking about those type of industrial papers, especially craft paper that are used for supermarket bags or grocery, shopping bags.
Right.
Colors are very, very inconsistent from, bag to bag, market to market, whatever.
Yeah.
So I sent the mill a variety of different colors. And I said, let's fool around with this, and you tell me which one of the craft papers I'm sending you is going to be easier for you to manufacture. And we came away with, I obviously made the ultimate decision. We came away with craft, craft Stonehenge, and very popular, really popular.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know botanical artists would use that too much. We'll have to check that out.
John, if you take a look at some of her work, some of Wendy's work on the craft, with purples and lavenders.
Okay.
Unbelievable. Really phenomenal.
Very cool.
But look, the truth of the matter is, white, warm white, natural.
Those are the most popular.
Those are the three most popular shades. Yeah.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Okay, so very cool. I want to talk a little bit more about maybe how you get to an alkaline, a very pH neutral base for paper. And I want to go into the weeds just a little bit on that. But before we do that, you know a lot about paper making. You have a little unfair advantage here.
I'm not a machinist.
But you know a lot more.
About it, yeah.
You know a lot more than I do or my audience does. And so the question I have is, what is it that we don't know as fine artists or even illustrators now? What is it that we don't know that maybe we should know?
Well, what I originally said to you is that it's not an exact science.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So what do you mean by that? How?
Well, it's not an exact science. You can literally have, from time to time I'll speak to artists and they'll say to me, Michael, this paper's not the same. The Reeves paper, the Arch cover, even Stonehenge. It's changed a little bit. Well, guess what? You can literally in a run, even though it's all, computerized with scanners across the machine,
right.
and they're testing for basis weight, and they're testing for color, and they're testing for caliper. You will get variances within a run.
Yeah.
You'll get
I
variances with the
can see
run.
that.
Now, having said that, the guys that are running the equipment at the mill periodically will take off what they call tear sheets,
Mm-hmm.
and they will match them up against what we call a standard for manufacturing. Now, what is
Okay.
a standard? Standard is when you first started out, I had a standard for every single part of that Stonehenge range.
Uh-huh.
And the mill, it was up to the manufacturer to match that standard as close as they possibly can. Now, having said that, there's always variances. There's going to be what they call tolerances.
Right, right.
Tolerances for surface,
Yeah.
tolerances for color, tolerances for weight.
How much of a tolerance variable are we talking about? Like, I mean, that makes sense, you know. Yeah, go ahead.
I would say probably there's about a 3% tolerance.
Okay,
probably in the area. You know, I don't know the exact numbers.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Enough so, you know, look, the mill has it down to a point where if they feel that it goes beyond the tolerance factor, they'll reject the run.
Right.
And when I get it, and when I get the paper, I get every single manufacturing, whether it be an item that I stock or whether it's a special making, I get an outturn, what they call an outturn, which is a production sampling of that particular manufacturing. I get a sample from the mill, and I look at it. And I evaluate it.
Right.
I analyze it, and I say, "Good to go."
Okay.
Good to go. And
thousands of papers. So how big is a production run? It's got to be huge then.
Well, my Stonehenge runs are, carload quantities, 40,000 pounds at a time. Yeah.
So how many runs per year?
That's one run. That's a run.
Uh-huh.
But that's not, I mean, I run it often. I mean, I don't,
okay.
I don't,
yeah.
It's not just one run and it lasts me for the year. I mean, we'll have production runs that are very, very sizable.
You're a pretty busy guy then.
But I'm not the one who's making it. I'm the one who created it, and
you're approving it.
and I'm approving it.
That sounds like a ton of work still.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
But I'm still having fun doing it, John.
Well, good. Awesome. All right. Yeah, it's one of my favorite papers, Stonehenge is. If you're listening today, then you're not surprised by that. Okay. So,
well, I was going to ask you, what do you like about it?
Well, so several things. I like how spongy it is. It's something that some artists don't care for, but I like that feel, that tactile feel of just touching the point of the pencil to the paper, and it just kind of melts together.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's not a hard surface.
Yeah, especially if you've got a very soft wax-based pencil, that feel of just applying that first layer just feels so good. So that's
and you
one
also
of the
like
things
the
I like
fact,
about it.
and I'm not putting words in your mouth. You also like the fact that the paper takes an enormous amount of layers.
It's the next thing I was going to say. Yeah, I can keep layering for forever. I mean, I've heard people say, "Oh, I can get 30, 50 layers," and that's no joke. On those large sheets, of white Stonehenge paper. I love it. Doesn't fit everyone's personality style or their temperament whenever they're wanting to create something quick. Although I have seen some color pencil artists render very quickly on Stonehenge as well. So,
but John, and I have to throw this out because it always comes up in conversation, especially with watercolor and colored pencil as well. We're talking about very subjective mediums.
Right.
You hold your pencil a certain way.
Yeah.
Your style is a certain style.
Right.
I mean, the person next to you, the person, that, is in just another watercolorist, another, Colored Pencil Society artist.
Right.
Their style could be different. The way they hold the pencil could be different. The amount of pressure that they apply could be different.
Absolutely.
The pencil that they're using could be different. It could be a Prismacolor. It could
the
be
way they sharpen it, even.
It could be the way it does.
So the angle of the pencil to the paper. Yeah,
so when I talk
changes.
about subjectivity, I talk about, you know what, Stonehenge. It's great that it found another home. In terms of the colored pencil market, and the colored pencil artist. But is it for everybody? Not necessarily.
Well, no paper is. I mean, it's just like a constant thing that many artists, they're always hopping papers, If you find a few, though, that you love, you just kind of stick with it. And Stonehenge has been one of those for me.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Awesome. All right. So has there been any big changes as far as the introducing of acid into the production of making the paper? Any of, getting that back to a balance? Anything with that you can tell us?
Papers are totally acid-free.
Mm-hmm.
Totally acid-free. Now, I think your viewership has got to realize also that, when a paper is made out of 100% cotton, guess what?
Mm-hmm.
Don't visualize that little puffy, white ball,
Right.
And think, wow, my paper's made out of that. Wow, it's beautiful. Look at that fluffy, nice cotton, No wonder the paper's so soft. Guess what? That's not what paper's made out of. That piece of fluffiness goes to the garment industry, goes to the clothing market.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you may have heard the expression, cotton linters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cotton linters. Now, what is a cotton linter? A cotton linter is literally the the that surrounds the seed of a cotton plant.
Mm-hmm.
That the most valuable part of a cotton plant
mm-hmm.
is not the fluffy part.
Mm-hmm.
The most important part is the seed of the cotton plant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing. It goes into the medical industry, pharmaceutical
mm-hmm.
industry. It goes into the, God knows. I mean, it's just so crucial component of a cotton plant. And that should clear up a lot, because people have this misnomer that they think, oh wow, fluffy white cotton. Wow, that's no wonder the paper's so soft. Has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with the manufacturing at all, unless, of course, we're talking about cotton fiber papers that are made from the recycled or the recycling of
mm-hmm.
cotton garments.
Yeah.
Then then you know that the recycled fiber
mm-hmm.
is probably from that,
from
that
the fluffy
white,
part.
Fluffy part. Yeah.
Right. The cotton itself. So the linters, then, let me just make sure that we're clear here then. So the linters.
The linters is the husk.
Uh-huh.
It's the cellulose fiber that's in the husk surrounding the seed of the cotton plant.
Yeah, so it's that very delicate. There's not very many seeds in a cotton plant either. I grew up around cotton, so I remember taking them apart as a kid. But yeah, it's a real different kind of texture when you get close to that seed. So that's
but it's refined.
Yeah,
you got to know it's all refined, and it's made. It's pure. It's not acidic. It's cleaned.
Yeah. I mean, there is acid introduced into the paper making process, right? But then, isn't that correct? Early on, I mean, every paper, I would think, right?
Very early on. But John, it's not. And I use the analogy when I talk to artists, and I say, my Stonehenge is acid free. Yeah. It's lignin free. Now, what does lignin free mean? Lignin. I'll give you an analogy. If you take any periodical, whether it be the New York Times or whether it be the Chicago Herald or whether it be the Miami Herald or whatever, and you put it outside, or you don't even have to, you just leave it stand, for a period of time. What color does it turn?
Yeah, it turns yellow. Yeah,
turns yellow. Right. So what is happening within that sheet? Mm-hmm. It's the lignin, the acid, that is literally eating into the fiber and destroying it. Mm-hmm. Destroying it. And Stonehenge, as a matter of fact, I will share with you all of my papers from Legion, all of my papers, and all the papers, obviously, that I've created are totally lignin-free papers.
Okay.
Totally lignin-free papers.
Okay.
Acid-free, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are buffered. We talked about buffering. We talked about calcium carbonate. You brought up the word alkaline. Mm-hmm. I would say that Stonehenge probably has a pH reading of 7.2, 7.3 in that area.
Very, very good. Yeah. Very high.
So it's got buffering in there.
Yeah. So you're not using like a colorant or a brightener that would sacrifice the longevity, the archival.
An OBA. You mean like an optical brightening agent?
Exactly.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And by the way, and I'm glad you brought that up. They talk about my earphone. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
They talk about, is this paper light fast, Michael? Is this paper color fast? I'll say, well, yeah, it is. I mean, but there's a little bit of a disclaimer there, because I will tell you, I don't care if any paper, brags about the fact that it's light fast and it's color fast and it's not going to change color. If you expose it to UV light,
right,
you put that piece of art in UV exposure, or in a window exposed to sunlight.
Right.
I don't care how light fast that paper is, it will change color.
Mm-hmm.
It will fade.
Given enough time with enough exposure to UV. Yeah, absolutely.
Which is one of the reasons why, John, if and I say this to your folks, if you value your art, bear the expense of, and you're framing it, bear the expense of using UV plexi or UV glass.
Right.
And of course, 100% cotton fiber board, as opposed to a wood pulp board.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
All of my papers were made to stand the test of time. I mean, that's basically, longevity is crucial.
Right. Crucial. Absolutely.
I mean, 100 years, 200 years, 300 years. I mean, look, I've gone to shows, art shows. I mean, countless art shows, God, over the last 50 years, a few, if you will.
Right.
Warhol, when he was doing his take the Marilyn Monroe piece that he did, the paper that he put this on, Marilyn Monroe's piece, was not an archival acid-free sheet.
I don't doubt that.
If you've seen any of those reproductions that he did on Marilyn Monroe, I think even Mick Jagger and Mal, you could look around the edges of the sheet, and they're yellow.
Are they really?
And they're yellow. It wasn't, I supplied Andy with board. As a matter of fact, we made what was called Rising Museum Board. We still have Rising Museum Board. That's our brand. But we also have what we called Lennox 100 board. And Andy used Lennox 100 32 by 40,
really?
2-ply, 30-point board for an enormous amount of his editions.
Interesting.
Yeah. A lot of his prints, a lot of his silkscreen prints were on Lennox board. Museum board is not only for matting art. It's a great surface for working in graphite or even colored pencil.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some artists I could name that work on museum board. That's so cool.
And they love it.
They do.
What they love about it is that you can get it all the way up to 120 point, which is like an 8-ply. It's unbelievable. It's like sheetrock, John.
Yeah.
It's like sheetrock.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Great. It's great to work on too. Stonehenge Aqua, which is a brother, sister, whatever you want to call it,
That's a newer paper line, right?
Well, 7 years, maybe 8 years ago, I came out with Stonehenge Aqua because I felt the range, the pedigree of Stonehenge needed a little bit of a family. Okay. So I came out with Stonehenge Aqua.
So what makes it
watercolor?
Okay, so what makes it part of that pedigree of Stonehenge?
Well, that was a marketing. That was basically a marketing thing. I mean, I figured that Stonehenge had such pedigree in the industry, in the market.
Yeah.
Literally worldwide, John. So I said, you know what? We're making watercolor paper. Let's give it the Stonehenge branding.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another Stonehenge down the road that I'm not going to even talk about now because it's too premature, because the paper's in the process of being made probably in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, wow.
That will be for a totally different medium, but it'll have the Stonehenge branding.
Gotcha.
That's another conversation.
Okay.
But as it relates to the Stonehenge Aqua, I mean, let's just get back on that for a second.
Let's talk about it.
I keep bringing up Wendy because, Wendy is, she put me really through the test. She was not happy with the the hot press. Botanical artists love to work on smooth papers. because the detail is so crucial to them.
Yeah, well, a lot of colored pencil artists like doing that as well.
And Stonehenge as a the Stonehenge drawing in print paper wasn't smooth enough for her.
Okay.
She wanted something that was really a true hot press surface, like a watercolor paper.
Yeah, right.
So, I gave her, God, I must have given her about 6 or 7 sheets. And the thing that, went all the way to the top was Stonehenge Aqua HP.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard comments from a number of people that they've tried it, and colored pencil on it is just, I don't know whether you've tried it, John, but it's incredible. The hot press Stonehenge Aqua.
I have not tried that one. What I did try was I was sent some cold press black aqua paper.
Right. And guess what?
A few years
it's
ago.
now available in hot press.
Black. Oh, that would be something that I'd be interested in. Yeah. That's very compelling to me.
By the way, anybody that's listening or watching, if they want to try any of these samples, we have a sample program that we can get samples out, just emailing us, and we'll get some samples out to to your.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
So they just need to email.
They can email info@legionpaper.com.
Oh, very cool. Well, thank you, Michael, for that.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll put the link to the email there in the show notes, guys.
And then you mentioned Stonehenge Black, which is now the latest product that we came out with.
Okay.
And doing unbelievably well. Now, why, if you don't mind me just expanding on that for a second.
Please. Yeah.
So why did I come out with a black watercolor paper?
Right.
Of all things.
Yeah.
Black, 100% cotton watercolor paper.
Yeah.
What was the method to I woke up in the middle of the night screaming with this. I said, with the introduction, and this has been going on for a few years, and I'll mention names. I mean, you can talk about DeWint, you can talk about Faber-Castell, you can talk about Prismacolor. They all, and you can go into the watercolors. You can talk about Daniel Smith watercolors. You can talk about Holbein. You can talk about Sakura. They all came out with a range of metallic, pearlescent, and iridescent colors.
Right.
Well, when you think about it, think about what color would really make these metallics and iridescents and pearlescents really pop.
Yeah.
And the answer is black.
Yeah, absolutely.
Black.
Yeah.
And if anybody goes to my website and looks at it, because we post so much work on our website and also on our Instagram and also on our Facebook page,
right.
On all the platforms, we just the images are just incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
And it's again listening to the market and doing stuff that the market has never seen or desires, wants.
I really love
black
that.
100% cotton fiber was avoided. No one was doing it.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know what? Let me try it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I had to show the mill how to make it.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that you keep coming back to you're listening to the market. You do listen to artists. In fact,
100%.
Guys, if you don't know this, Michael actually hosts a program on YouTube, I believe, right?
For the Love of Art.
For the Love of Art. And it's a good program. I've caught it a couple times. I think you do it live. Is that right? Or
I do it live, and I try to do it, John. I try to do it once every 2 weeks.
Okay, I wasn't sure about the frequency.
We've had some incredible guys on.
Yeah.
We've had Wendy on. We've had Spone. We've had Franz Spone on.
Okay. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes as well, to Michael's channel over there.
And you know what? What's great about it, being, I'm not going to say being cooped up in my home office, but,
cooped up in your home office.
Well, I mean, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a very, very long time. And
that pandemic helped make it happen.
More opportune time than now. I mean, God,
right.
It's perfect. It was a perfect timing for it.
Did you start it over the summer of 2020 or?
No, I started it really. Wow, I don't remember when I did my first one. I think I'm not sure. I think Wendy was my first. To be honest with you, I think it was God, it was maybe almost a year ago. God.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Well, if you like this program, guys, I'm telling you, you're going to like that program as well, obviously. If you
It's a lot of information
Yeah.
pushing you across the table in an hour, John. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, yeah, really
But
is.
it's a lot of fun.
Very cool.
And by the way, there's a lot to be learned.
Mhm.
And it's not only colored pencil, and it's
Right.
not only watercolor.
Right.
It's bookbinding.
Yeah, I
it's
saw that
silkscreen,
one.
it's
That was
etching,
very interesting.
it's platinum printing.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I saw
it's
the
every single
bookbinding
medium
one.
out
I
there.
thought that was
Every medium out there.
pretty fascinating. Okay,
Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool.
It's a lot of fun.
All right. So we posted a question over in Monthly Sharpener, and I want to look at some of these questions here. I think you and I addressed a couple of these already, but let me just make sure. So we got one here from Brenda. She said, would be interesting to know the recommendation for storing paper before use. For example, is it okay to keep in the plastic large wrap sheets that it comes in? Any thoughts on that? I mean, what do you think? That's
are we
store's
talking
doing
specifically
that.
Specifically for colored pencil?
Well,
I guess we are,
she's
right?
just talking about storing it. So, yeah.
Well, the
paper.
plastic is inert. I mean,
Yeah.
the paper is totally archival. I mean,
Yeah.
can it be stored in plastic? Yeah. I mean, look, when I talk to printmakers,
Mm-hmm.
There's a term out there, and it's no different, with Stonehenge. There's a term out there, and everybody can look it up just to make sure that I'm telling the truth. There's a term out there called hygroscopic.
Okay.
Hygroscopic.
Hygroscopic. What's it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
It is the ability to take on and give off moisture.
Oh, okay.
And
Makes
cotton
sense.
fiber papers have the ability to take on and give off moisture.
Sure.
So if you are I'll give you a for instance, and we talked about it on some of our webinars with silkscreen printers. If you're a silkscreen printer and you're printing 100 plus colors,
Right.
and you need to have perfect registration,
Mm-hmm.
you need to know that paper is not going to, stretch, contract. I mean, it's going to be dimensionally as stable as it can possibly be.
Right.
Which is why I encourage all my printers, whatever the medium that they're doing, whether it be silkscreen or intaglio or whatever, take the paper out,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of where it's going,
Mhm.
because the paper could be going to the Amazon. I mean, wherever. Take the paper out, let it breathe, and let it adjust to the environment that it just arrived in.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take it out of the wrap and throw it right on a press.
Mm-hmm.
You would be doing yourself an incredible disservice,
Mhm.
really, because it's not acclimated to the new environment. And I guess the same would hold true. I mean, not so much with colored pencil, because that's a kind of a manual, hands-on situation. And I'm sure, John, you've worked on it. You don't have a lot of instability of the sheet, if you will.
Mm-mm.
No.
No, I mean, you can, use too much solvent, or if you're using a watercolor base, you could use too much water or something like that. I found, and I think most color pencil artists would agree, that if you tape it down, then it will go back into its original shape.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So let's see here. Let me go down the list here.
But I didn't even answer your question. Is it safe to put it in plastic?
Oh, I think we addressed
I think it's okay.
that. Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, this is cool. So Lori Dixon, one of my students, said that one of her artworks was featured on your Instagram page. So that's cool. I know that Maria Wilson's artwork was also featured.
Maria,
so
yes.
Very cool. A couple of students.
She is so talented. Wow.
Isn't she, though?
Unbelievable.
They both are. All right. So another question here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This is a good one. With hemp and bamboo, do these papers offer the paper a chance to hold up better over time because of stronger fiber composition? Or the fiber stronger than cotton?
Bamboo is a very strong fiber, by the way.
That's kind of a newer thing, though, that you started adding, right? I mean, or have you always?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We added some hemp,
Okay.
and the bamboo is The bamboo has been around, with me for a while.
Okay.
It really has. And by the way, it's such a hard fiber, bamboo.
Mm-hmm.
Flooring
Right.
made out of bamboo is harder than wood.
Ah, interesting.
Harder than wood.
Did not know that.
And it is such a hard fiber that when we manufacture it, we put in 10% cotton to soften it up a little bit.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Now, from an archival standpoint, it is totally archival.
Okay.
Totally archival, totally acid-free, absolutely will stand the test of time.
Okay. So the reason for adding it is just some strength to a particular paper, different texture, or all the above?
You mean adding what, bamboo or adding?
Well, bamboo, and then we'll talk about hemp, I guess, or unless they're the same.
We were talking about ecology, being ecological, being really
renewable,
thinking about the environment.
Okay.
But so we came out with a bamboo product. I mean,
okay.
It's been around for easily 15 years.
Okay.
Easily 15 years.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
But what about the hemp? Same thing? Or?
We are experimenting with the hemp now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, experimenting with the hemp. I was bringing in a hemp paper from India that was handmade. And now we're experimenting with hemp paper as a result of, cannabis it's really huge. It's a huge market, John. So cannabis market is really big, and, not to recognize it and try and come out with a product from a packaging standpoint, especially for packaging, to come out with a hemp, derivative would have been silly not to do it.
So what about CBD oil? I'm just kidding. All right.
I use it. I mean, I use it on my back.
I hear it does some miraculous things.
It's unbelievable. So it really helps. I don't take it.
I've heard.
I don't take it orally, but I use it as a as a massage thing.
Right, right.
It's pretty good. It's pretty cool.
Okay, I think that's about all the questions that the community had. Some of these were asked twice, it looks like. So very good. All right. So are you an artist?
I'm an abstract artist.
Okay.
What's really funny is that I was I started painting and drawing when I was 9 years old. Mm-hmm. This new paper that we're coming out with in the last quarter of this year is going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a really cool Stonehenge product. And
you really piqued our interest on that, so I can't wait to see what that is.
Well, I'll get you samples when it's available.
That's exciting.
It's going to be for a totally different medium.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different medium. It's going to be really cool.
You've been at this a long, long time, if I may say so. What is going on in the future? I mean, what are you looking forward to? Are you going to retire soon, or what? You just keep doing this, or what are you doing?
What am I going to do with myself?
What are you going to do with yourself?
I guess what I'll have to do is I'll be painting more. Maybe, I don't know. So I don't have a plan to retire right now.
Okay.
But I still have ideas. There's our pad range, our Stonehenge pad range, our Yupo.
Yeah.
Yupo, we didn't talk about Yupo.
Yeah, we should talk about Yupo.
Yupo is a polypropylene paper that it found its way into the art world.
Now, is it sort of a competitor to like the graphics lines of drafting film and Duralar or something like that?
Totally different.
Totally different. How so?
They both could be polypropylene based. Yeah. But the Yupo has got, again, I talk about pedigree. It's got a name. It's got performance. It's got a reputation, a proven reputation out in the market.
Who uses it mostly?
Works for watercolor. Okay. I mean, depending upon whether it's a staining color or not a staining color, but you make a mistake, you can wash it right off.
Yeah.
Yupo will take alcohol inks unbelievably well. I mean, of course, the alcohol dries and you're left with the with the coloration on the sheet, which you can't get off. But it found its way. I mean, there are people out there. Sandy is one of our, part of our focus group. she's a Yupo artist and
Okay.
does some incredible work on Yupo.
Watercolor, or what does she use?
She's an artist. Her name is Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
Sandy.
Does she use watercolor on it, or
she uses watercolor and she uses alcohol ink?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Her name is Sandy. Sandy.
Her last name is Sandy. Her first name is Sandy. I question her
she's
all
so
the
lucky.
time.
All right. All right. I've got the most boring. You and I both. We've got the most boring name for anyone to ever remember. Michael, John.
Well, yeah.
All right. So there's something on your website that I really enjoy, and that is this little area where you can find a paper. You can decide the brand. You can decide the color family. You can decide what it's suitable for. Just going through that little algorithm there and doing a search, I think that is a fascinating idea.
Well, we did that. What we tried to do, John, we tried to make our website like an encyclopedia for artists. To make it as user friendly as we possibly could.
Yeah,
and you can put in if you're looking for a certain color.
Yeah,
if you're looking for a certain size of a sheet. If you're looking for large size,
and what it's suitable for. I love that. That is.
I invite everybody that's watching or listening to go to the website and check it out. I mean, the descriptions that I wrote for most of these grades are, it's really a learning process. It talks about the pH factor, talks about the sizes, talks about decals. There's a glossary on there that defines some of the terms that are common in the industry.
Yeah.
And then of course they can always email us at info@legionpaper.com.
Yeah, it is. It's actually a good afternoon or more if you just go to the blog or you go to our mills. I love that particular area. It's you guys are very transparent about the mills that you're using,
and that's not. And John, that we represent. Wow, we represent close to 50 manufacturers in the world.
That's impressive.
So we don't list every single mill. I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah,
and producing over 3,000 paper. I thought I read at one time somewhere there was over 4,000, but it's over 3,000. Okay, gotcha.
Yep, over 3,000 different types.
That's amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing.
Yeah. There's so many different products out there, and to the point that when we first started, and in terms of the medium being a very subjective medium. I have a focus group. We talked a little bit about it. I said I would even make you part of my colored pencil focus group, John. We have a focus group that when I have an outturn from a mill that I'm testing and I want tested to find out good, bad, or indifferent.
Right.
Yes, it works. No, it doesn't work. You, the artist, in your hands to tell me, Michael, you have a winner. Michael, this really works. And it's not only you individually.
Yeah, that's a recurring theme I keep hearing.
Exactly.
It's
a group
you
of
go
people.
to the market. And I love that. That's how you're arriving at these iterations in the products. I love that so much.
That's absolutely true. And I will not come to market that is not what I call press proven. I won't do it.
Right.
I just won't do it. If the market doesn't tell me that, Michael, this paper is unbelievable, when will it be available? I'm not going to bring it to market. I'm just not going to do it.
See, I thought I read somewhere on your website, on one of these pages, I thought I read somewhere that if you don't find a paper that you love or something, we'll make it for you or something like that. And I thought,
well,
what in the world? So
we'll attempt to. Well, no, to that question, okay, or to that point that we make on our website, we have the ability because we work with so many different mills worldwide.
Yeah.
And certain mills have the ability to make what we call, not necessarily to an artist, but they have the ability to make a small run, like a metric ton, which is only 2,200 pounds. Now, 2,200 pounds to a commercial mill here in the United States is like 1/4 of what their minimums would be.
Okay.
Most mills here in the United States won't make less than 20,000 pounds. They won't do it. So we have mills worldwide couple here in the United States that will tailor make a paper for me. Not only tailor make the paper, the finish. You got a Benjamin Moore swatch card? Send me the color. I'll match it. John, it's all digital. It's all coloration is digital.
Yeah, right.
And it's is it easy? No.
Right.
Certain colors are more difficult than others, but we do it all the time. We're constantly matching colors for people.
Wow.
Not necessarily for the colored pencil market, but we're constantly matching colors for people.
Michael, we've been going for an hour. I think I could talk to you all night. There's probably things I would love to discuss with you, and I'm sure you would have some insights on. Is there any advice you would give someone who is brand new to creating artwork on paper? Any closing words that you want to say to anybody who is thinking about purchasing some Legion paper, some Stonehenge, or trying out the Aqua hot press paper, the brand new stuff, the Yupo, and they've not done it before? We have a link over there on the website for the samples, and you talked about that. Anything else that you want to just say in closing?
Well, the only thing I would say is that whether you're an amateur or a professional, you want to use what works best for you.
Yep.
And don't compromise your art at all. Don't compromise your art. If you compromise your art and you're using, inexpensive or, newsprint, for argument's sake, don't work on a paper that in 10 years is going to turn yellow. You don't want to do that. Make sure that the papers are totally archival. There's so many different products in our line that you can sample and try, and that's the whole key. Yeah. Try a bunch of different products for your style and for your hand, because everybody's different. Yeah. Everybody is different, and John, I'm sure it's true when you use colored pencils. I'm sure that I'm pretty sure that you found a color range that you like. But, there's so many different brands out there that I'm sure you've tried them all.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You've tried them all.
Yeah.
I think the artist owes themselves, they're doing themselves a disservice by not experimenting with I'm not saying 20 or 30. Find yourself a half a dozen different substrates or surfaces that you feel good about, and you can get them all from me. And try them out and see what works best.
Right. Very cool. Thanks, Michael, so much. I really appreciate your time and your sacrifice of your evening coming on the show and sharing as much as you did today. I love it. We didn't even talk a whole lot about, your upbringing or anything. We just talked about that art making that you went through, and then everything got, it disappeared or whatever. But I'm sure you have a lot more you could share. Thanks so much for making this very direct and very apropos to a colored pencil artist. I appreciate it.
John, I'll tell you what, you invite me back and I'll come back. We'll talk about some more stuff.
Okay, there we go.
But I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you so much, John.
Thank you. And guys, again, go check out Michael's YouTube channel. It's, if you are creating artwork, I know you guys write to me and tell me that you're listening to the podcast while you're creating artwork. So this is something you can listen to and just glance at once in a while and have that YouTube channel playing in the background there. That's what I've done with it. Plan on watching some more of those as well while I'm creating artwork. So awesome. This is a weekly show. Comes out every Monday morning at 3 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And guys, if you're enjoying the show, consider leaving a rating and or a review. I would appreciate that. Share it with someone else. You can reach out, podcast@sharpenedartist.com. And we'll talk to you again next week. And until then, stay sharp. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. All the show notes can be found at www.sharpenedartist.com.